If there's one person that's been an absolute pain in the neck for Dr. Anthony Fauci, it's been Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Rand Paul has been known to put Fauci on the spot on multiple occasions. Each time he does it, he trends on Twitter, and just today, Rand Paul did it again. He backed Fauci against a wall after eviscerating him on his COVID-19 double mask theater. This is an article up at redstate.com right now. Let's dive into it because this is really juicy. Now, this took place during the Senate hearing on COVID-19 today, and it was a really interesting hearing, mainly because Rand Paul made it so. He really called Dr. Fauci out on the fact that his mask wearing seems to be very theatrical in nature, especially because, as Rand Paul, as some of you know, a doctor himself, went through the data and some studies and found that when it comes to the virus, once people have either gotten it naturally and then gotten over it or had a vaccine, they're completely immune. They don't carry the virus really. And he was wondering why it is that even despite the fact that there is no danger from the COVID-19 virus, that we still need to mask up. And he called out Dr. Fauci himself, who wears 2 masks despite the fact that he has the vaccine. He called him out as saying, what you're doing is theater. He confronted Dr. Anthony Fauci in person during the Senate hearing over the COVID-19 pandemic. He cornered Fauci and really kind of made him answer for what he's been up to. He said, "You're telling everybody to wear a mask, whether they've had an infection or a vaccine. What I'm saying is that they have immunity, and everybody agrees they have immunity. What studies do you have that people that have had the vaccine or have had the infection or the vaccine are spreading the infection? If we're not spreading the infection, isn't it just theater? We've had the vaccine and you're wearing 2 masks. Isn't that theater?" Now, Fauci responded, no. And you could see that Fauci was getting visibly frustrated with Rand Paul. Again, this is not the first time that the two have actually come to blows. And he said, no, it's not. Here we go again with the theater. Let's get down to the facts. And the facts that Fauci pointed out is that the studies that Rand Paul quoted they specifically say this does not necessarily pertain to the actual protection. It's in vitro. But he did agree with Rand Paul that those who were infected have 6 months of immunity, but not against varying strains of the virus. Which he called an entirely different ballgame. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because you would think that at this point in time, Fauci would have the excuse. There are varying strains out there, and we need to be careful about that. More on those varying strains in a second, but Paul wasn't having it. And he said, well, despite the fact that there are these varying strains out there, you can't show me the study that says that once a person is infected, that they can get reinfected again, even from varying strain. There's no real data out there that suggests that those who are out there are have gotten over the virus or having that vaccine to the virus have any reason to be afraid of the virus anymore. And Fauci, once again, Rand Paul said it does not exist. There's no evidence that there's a significant reinfection after the vaccine, to which Fauci, once again, getting angry. You're not hearing about what I'm saying about variants. We're talking about wild type versus variants. Now, the interesting thing about these variants is that there's even still no proof that they're widespread or that even they are super dangerous once you are infected with them. People who have been infected with COVID-19 still haven't really popped up with these new varying strains after getting over the first one. So once again, Paul pressed him and said, there's no proof of this yet, to which Fauci responded with, well, the varying strains aren't prevalent yet. Okay. So Paul pressed him and said he points out that he is making policy based around conjecture and is attempting to force Americans to wear masks for 2 years, despite the fact that once you have the virus, it can't be gotten again. And Paul got him here. You parade around in 2 masks for show. You can't get it again. There's virtually a 0% chance that you're going to get it, and yet you're telling people that have the vaccine, we have immunity. You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people who wear masks, who have been tell people to wear the mask despite the fact that they've been vaccinated. People don't want to hear it. There's no science behind it. And it's completely true. You'll notice that many people here, have decided that it's just time to stop wearing the masks. There should be no mask mandate. Texas actually lifted theirs. It's interesting to me that you still have a Democratic Party backed up by Dr. Anthony Fauci and his science that say that we still need to mask up. And not only mask up, but we need to wear 2 masks now, despite the fact that we're vaccinated. Now, here's the funny part. This is the best part about it. What the video doesn't show that you're going to find on Red State is that later Virginia Democrat Tim Kaine said, and I quote, "I have had COVID and I've been vaccinated and I wear a mask. I wear a mask to make other people feel safer, even if there weren't variants." So effectively, he's proving Paul right. He's saying that I'm still wearing a mask because other people need to feel safer around me, despite the fact that I know for a fact that I'm not contagious. I'm not in danger. No one's in danger from me. I'm going to keep wearing the mask, says Tim Kaine. Well, then Paul is correct then, isn't he? It's complete theater. Now, here's the interesting part about the COVID variant that Anthony Fauci pointed out, which was COVID B117. According to the Oakland Press, if you read this, 31 counties in Michigan have at least one case of the variant, also known as the UK variant. The state has confirmed 725 cases, 420 of them in the Michigan Department of Corrections, per the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. We don't make much of it because it doesn't change anything. I think if we end up getting a variant here that has reduced sensitivity to vaccine immunity, then I'm going to have to get more excited and let people know. We know this is here. It's widespread across the state. If that knowledge helps inspire to people wear masks and distance, I'm all for it. Okay, so it seems like this new variant is spreading throughout that state, right? It looks bad. He's not getting quite excited yet because it hasn't really proved itself to be resistant to the vaccine. But it goes on. Most of these variants that are at all concerning are more transmissible. Something about their mutation makes it easier to spread. That can be a number of reasons if you think about what the virus has to do. Maybe it divides faster, replicates faster. Maybe it sticks to the nasal lining more easily. Maybe it sheds more easily. There's a lot of steps involved in the transmission that the mutation may improve from the perspective of this virus. That part is concerning, but there is good news. The vaccine works for all of the variants so far. There are some variants that have decreased effects from the vaccine, but the vaccine still works for all of them. It's still effective for all the variants. One day a resistant mutation could develop, but so far, so good. That leads me to my most important part. We are literally in a race to get as many people vaccinated as possible before a variant evolves and the vaccine immunity might take care of. If there is enough community immunity, if enough people are vaccinated, then it will put an end to all of this. So, what have we learned? Right now, as it stands, the vaccine really does work for all variant strains. And yet, the Democrats are still insisting that we wear masks. We wear 2 masks, in fact. So if that's the case, then what Rand Paul said is absolutely true. This is all theater at this point in time. Wearing a mask is not going to matter if you're vaccinated, because the vaccines work for the other strains as well. Now, at some point in time, it is true that it might mutate and the vaccine might actually be ineffective. But right now is not that time. Right now, it seems to me that we have a vaccine that takes care of all the problems. So ask yourself, why are they still asking you to mask up? Why are they still putting these lockdown measures on you even after you get the vaccine? It doesn't make any sense, really. And that's what Rand Paul is trying to expose, and he's right to try to expose that. Right now, we have a Democratic administration that is projecting that we still have more sacrifices to make, more suffering to go through for months at a time now. Dr. Fauci thinks that we might be wearing masks well into 2022. If we have a vaccine that is effective, why are we wearing them at all? That's the question that you should be asking yourself. I'll see you next time.